So I've just bought another car which has been completely abandoned. So recently I revealed my daily car, the Audi A5, with the intentions of buying a crash damaged car as well to be the main project. However, I've searched and searched online for the car I'm after, and this is all I get. So I've had a think and thought it might be worth me getting like a stopgap project car to make content on and keep us busy until the car I want becomes available. So I then had to work out what that car could be. Now, going off the comments in the Audi A5 reveal video, I kind of thought it had to be a BMW, which is when I had a little idea. Ding! If you've watched my videos for a little while now, you would have heard me mention Hatton Energy Motorsport a fair bit by now. Now, Steve the owner works on and owns some pretty cool cars, and some interesting ones as well. And some of these cars I've always wanted to own. So me and Steve were talking, and then he reminded me that he has something pretty cool up in his yard that will interest me and also you. And that thing is what is sat behind me, looking a little bit sorry for itself. So the car is a BMW E36 328i Sport, and I'll let Steve tell you why it's been abandoned up here in a little moment, but let's see if we can take the cover off and see if it will start. Oh, okay. This thing is in not the best of shape, yeah. It's a little bit green, not gonna lie. Definitely been sat here for a little while, and half the interior seems to be missing, and there's a lot of parts in the back, which is never a good sign. Let's have a look around the front. The tyres are pretty cracked. I'm hoping with a clean it will look a little bit better, but it is absolutely hanging. So I do have a key, but I definitely think it's going to need a jump pack, so let's connect this up and see if we have any life. Oh, got the key, that's a good start. Right, is it rolling? It is, perfect. Right, this is the moment of truth. Got the key, let's see. Oh, okay. This could be a bit more of a project than I first thought. Let's get in this and just see if it turns on. There's a Mackey's there if anyone wants it. Right, so neutral. Let's get the key in. Will it start? Oh, that's quite loud, that. So Steve did say when he left it up here, it did run and drive absolutely fine. So I was kind of hoping it would start, and I'm so glad it did. And not gonna lie, it does sound pretty throaty, but there's definitely an exhaust leak somewhere. Right, so I'll let it warm up, and then we should be able to just drive it out and take it to Steve's workshop so we can have a look at what we're working with. Right, moment of truth. It's already up to temperature, got that up quick. Let's see if we can actually get it out of here. It does move. Don't stall it, Brett. Okay, we're nearly out. Bit of a lump. Oh, it's quite low. Am I just spinning? Might need a bit of a run up for this. This thing is very low. So I mean, one thing that's good is that it's staying at the right temperature and there's no warning lights on the dash, but we do need fuel. And that's not even that bad mileage, 142,000, that's not terrible at all. So I reckon before we do anything, we need to give this thing a clean. This is going to be satisfying. So to start with, I covered the car in some bug and grime remover to help lift the dirt. And once that was applied, I went in with the snow foam on top. And after leaving it for 5 minutes to soak in, you could already see the dirt pouring off. And now it was time to go over the jet wash for the first time, and trust me, this was satisfying. Once it was sprayed over once, I then covered it in snow foam again and then went round with my detailing brush. I used this brush to get in all the nooks and crannies. I then sprayed the car off again and then snow foamed it once again to then go around with a hand mitt. I sprayed that off and then lastly attacked the wheels. It's amazing what just a simple clean could do to a car. It looks so much better. But now it's all clean, I feel like I can give you a full walk around of the car and what it has on it. Because as you can probably tell, it is not standard. So it's a 1998 BMW E36 328i Sport, which is essentially the top range model before the actual E36 M3. And underneath the bonnet is a 2.8 litre straight six. And I actually know one of the previous owners, and he dynoed it and it ran 240 horsepower. Now that's a little bit more than it should run, so let me explain why. It's got this aftermarket sort of intake thing here, which apparently used to be shiny, so yeah, it's definitely pretty old. But it's also got the M3 exhaust manifold, along with a Super Sprint exhaust. But that does need a bit of attention because it's definitely blowing. But it is also sat really nice because it is on some brand new, and when I mean brand new, I mean brand new HSD coilovers. And it's got some pretty cool body kit on it as well. So it's got the genuine BMW M3 wheels on it, and these are the genuine wheels. Genuine BMW mirrors, an OMP aftermarket steering wheel, a genuine BMW splitter, and these aftermarket headlights. Now let me know what you think of the headlights. I personally really like them, but I sent photos to so many people of the car and everyone's like, you need to replace those headlights and put standard ones back in. But I have got the standard ones, so if you think it needs standards, I'll put them back in. But I really like those, they look really good. It's also got 2 keys and a load of paperwork. And not only do I know Steve, the previous owner, I also know another previous owner, and this is a photo of what it used to look like when he owned it. So yeah, it's definitely gone downhill a little bit since then. Now in the UK, in order to drive on the public road, a car requires an MOT. If you're outside of the UK, an MOT test basically checks all of the car and makes sure it is safe to drive on the road. So this car's been sat for well over a year, so the MOT has expired. Now I want to get this thing home, and in order to do that, it needs an MOT, and in its current state, it's definitely not going to pass the test. So without further ado, let's get it sorted. So first of all, we tackled the exhaust blow, and after looking under the car, we straight away saw the problem. It was blowing from the top of the pipe. Now this was going to be a bit of a problem, and we thought we might have had to remove the actual manifold to get access to it, but then Steve had a great idea of removing the exhaust and seeing if we can access the holes from the inside of the pipe. So I then had the task of removing the exhaust, and as you can probably imagine, it put up a bit of a fight. The bolts were rambling like there was no tomorrow, so we had to use a lot of lubricant spray, mold grips, and also quite a lot of heat. So yeah, as you can see, it's had a bit of a bodge repair in the past. So I dived straight in, cleaning up the inside of the exhaust, getting it all clean so it could be welded, and then Steve cracked out the welder and then started filling in all the holes. Then once he was done with that, I went and cleaned up all the welds inside so it was nice and smooth, and then put all the exhaust back together. So this was just a quick repair just to get it through the MOT, because I'm sure we'll go back to the exhaust in a future video, but I covered the gaskets in some exhaust putty and then used brand new bolts to hold it all together. And with that all done, the exhaust now doesn't blow. Success. So next up, I tackled the side lights, and this side was really easy because everything was just there. I just had to clip it in place. But for the other side, I had to have a bit of a rummage around to find the part. And then when I found that, I then had to try and find the actual wiring for it. Now first of all, I tried to get like a bit of wire and try and hook the cable in with the wire through the gap, but that wasn't happening. So in the end, I had to take off the wheel arch, and the wheel arch was actually connected to some of the under trays. Most of the under trays were pretty much shot. They need replacing, so I thought whilst I'm there, I'll just remove them all. So yeah, in the future, we need to replace all those. But with the wheel arch liner out, I could then access the wire and plug it in. Yes. I then went ahead and screwed in the seat belts and then fitted the rear headrests. Right, so I think everything is done in order for this thing to pass an MOT, but what I'm going to do is just run around everything once more, like check the wipers, lights and everything like that, and just make sure I'm happy. Right, so first I'm going to check the hazards. Both of those are working absolutely fine. Side lights working, those are both working, and that's working, so that's perfect. Right, I'm going to check the lights. Both of those are working fine, and both of those are working fine. The dip beam is all good, yep. Let's try full beam. Yep, full beam is all good. Right, so I've just pressed the sight on the brake pedal, and yeah, they all work, so that's good. Right, do the seat belts lock out? Yep. Yep. Green wash? Yep, that's all good. So after a few more checks, just to make sure I'm happy for the MOT, we then decided to fit the front viscous engine fan. And just like most of the other parts, this was found in the back of the car with the plastic trim surround as well. Now that's installed, the car shouldn't overheat. Sweet, so I'm 99% sure this thing will fly through an MOT. Right, so the final thing I wanted to do was get this thing serviced, because I don't think it's had a service in years. So I loosened the oil cap, put the car straight up in the air and then drained out the oil. And as that was draining, I thought I'd tackle the fuel filter. and boom, just like that, the new one's installed with some new clips. I then put a small tray under the car to catch any final last drips, and then drop the car down and replace the oil filter. And it's always good practice to clear out the oil filter housing, because let's be honest, this is where all the gunk's going to be. And then once it was all clean, I covered the new O-ring in oil, put it on the filter housing, put a new filter in it, and then put it in the car. And then back under the car to do up the sump plug again with a new washer. And then I went ahead and filled up the car with oil. And I know what you're thinking, yes, I'm using cheap oil, but this thing has been sat for so long, I'm probably going to do another oil change very soon anyway. I then started up the car and went underneath and checked for any leaks. But no, I was all happy, so I could put all the casings back on. And then I had to tackle the dreaded cabin filter. And trust me when I say this took ages. Now, you know that saying, live and you learn? This was definitely a situation like that, because I spent a good half an hour stripping out the left side of the dashboard, taking out the glove box and everything like that, to then find out the cabin filter on UK cars, or right-hand drive cars, is located on the driver's side. So yeah, not ideal. But then with that all done, it was finally time to tackle the spark plugs. So one by one, I went ahead and removed the coil pack and removed the spark plugs. And at this point, it was all going pretty well until we took out a couple of the coil packs and realised they were covered in oil. Now, I got Steve to check this out, and he said it's really nothing to worry about, because let's be honest, this thing has probably not been serviced in like 5 or more years. So it's going to be a build up of oil, but it definitely does need a new rocker cover gasket. So we'll get that done very, very soon. And yeah, look at those spark plugs. They were definitely overdue. Okay, so it does look like we're going to need a new rocker cover gasket. It's not a big deal, but the car is now ready for an MOT and service. But I can already tell you're absolutely spamming in the comments down below to saying, why is it actually been left? So Steve, please explain why the car was left to rot.
Right, so the water pump went, and I was driving it along the road. It dumped its water literally out on the road.
Yeah.
Managed to coast it back in here, changed the water pump, then realised that the MOT had run out.
Brilliant.
So I had to park it up the top, and then I forgot about it. That was it.
Why was all the interior out then?
So the headlining sagged really badly. So I thought, well, I'll do the interior up and I'll felt the roof lining. Did the roof lining, then never got around to doing the door pillars, and then obviously you got to take them out to put this in, so therefore they're missing. So yeah, that's why the interior's half apart.
Steve's just pulling it out, and I'll tell you what, this thing looks so good. Right, so I'm now on the way to the MOT, but unfortunately you're going to have to wait until the next video to see if it's passed. But yeah, let me know down below what you think of the new car. But for now, make sure you leave a like on the video, comment down below, and also subscribe, and I shall catch you guys very, very soon in a brand new video.